As you see, we are now moving from the project to higher ambitions. Currently, I'm coming back to what we expect to deliver in the communities and to show how the tool can be used on everyday practice by our primary users. So let's put ourselves in this situation. We are just joining Sofia, which is the chair of the Emergency Planning Authority in a fictional city that I named Belleville. Okay, she has to find ideas to improve the safety of Belleville. She has a mandate to pursue the Sendai target E2, so she also has something to look, not just limited to the community, but in general, to improve the ability to reduce the risks. She has to observe her city against a specific risk, which is a sort of the periodic flood that disrupt the community. So this is the major scenario she has to look at and look after for the city. RESILOC will have deployed in Belleville, and if you see this, it means that we are thinking about one of the trials. So think about this as a representation of what the trial could deliver from the project. So we have the RESILOC system, which is actually a platform that sits on the cloud. And it's a platform for defining the scenario, uploading data, building relations between data into indicators, representing the results on graphical tools. So she has access to the system. She has a set of other tools, basically an app, which is for communicating with citizens, mainly for delivering questionnaires or for asking answers to a specific subject, both the citizens and to the alert team members. It is a tool also that will perform some sentiment analysis in the community. This is a sort of a dynamic proxy, so it shows how the community feels about, for example, what the government, local government is doing, or how much they are aware of the risk, what they perceive an hazard, whatever. She also has some possible sensors to be deployed. Sensor for us is a concept. RESILOC does not develop sensors themselves. So we could use, for the purposes of improving the understanding of the answer or the reply or the reaction of the community to an event, local sensors already existing, just connected to the platform, or to deploy additional sensors. We decided to go with sort of a counting sensors of people in an area. Technically, there are beacons that will sense how many people are around the beacon in a specific time of the day, and this would help the manager to understand how much people stay in a specific area of the day, so that a specific event may have a larger impact in case it happens in a certain time of the day or in a certain place. So it's just an example of how dynamic data can be included in the picture. Having this set, she starts a project. So, okay, I have to make the assessment of resilience of Belleville against a flash flood, for example. So she starts looking in the historic part of the inventory of data. Inventory is part of our tools. Is there anything else that was already done? Or is there any other community that already analyzed this process, assessed their resilience against flash floods? Starting from these pre-available scenarios and indicators, she starts building her own scenario. When I say she, it means the group of people she's working with, so also with experts. She will realize that some indicators are available, some are missing, and they need it because they have a specific setting, environmental setting, or specific infrastructures, for example. In addition to that, she would realize that some proxies are not available in Belleville at the time, so she has to start actions. So after creating a scenario, browsing the inventory, selecting indicators, or identifying actions, she brings around the table the head of data analysis of Belleville, which is Erik. So he's a magician, he's a wizard. with data. So he is able to check exactly what they have, what they can derive from other agencies. So he helps Sofia to build up the data set, which is underlying and needed for the framework. Some of them are available. Some of them can be derived by national data sets, or some are simply missing. So he has to plan for a survey. So he launches the survey to the community using the app or other tools, collecting information back, then giving the data to experts to crunch the numbers and to identify something that could become a proxy. So this is how it works. RESILOC will not automatically process the evidence from questionnaires, but experts will do that and will transform this evidence into numbers for our proxies and therefore indicators. Now, all what was possible has been collected. Everything is there. I can start my assessment, but first I have to involve the community, as I said before. So Sofia invites other people, the local first responder team, local resilience team, let's say fictionally Leticia and George, and they will start running together with the tool to identify 3 major parts of our important set of proxies. The targets where they want, or say the community wants them to be, how much relevant they are in that specific scenario. Not all proxies and indicators are relevant the same in a scenario. Something can be very relevant in case of an earthquake and absolutely irrelevant in case of a flood. So they will even judge how much a specific indicator, which is anyway existing and represents the community, is relevant for that specific scenario. And what we name direction, it means, will an increase in the value of the proxies be beneficial, or we need a decrease? It may sound simply a mathematical thing, but it is not. It's also psychological. Should we increase something or decrease something for being better? With this all set and discussed with the community, as I said before, so we co-create together with the community members this set of targets, relevance, direction. We identify, or they identify, new indicators and proxies that were not available in literature, or they were not identified by the experts. So this entire set is built together, and then finally Sofia can take a snapshot of resilience. So now I have everything on my desk. I can hit the button in a way, okay, completed, and the calculation, proxies become indicators, indicators are evaluated against the target, so on and so forth. We build up a map of the resilience assessments in the community, which is a column map basically, along the indicators and the dimensions. Dimensions is a way of representing indicators in a logical group. So environmental indicators, social indicators, industrial indicators, whatever, is just a way of focusing on a specific part. They are not a calculation, it's just a way of presenting things. But it's very powerful because it gives you a visual cue on a visual hit to where things are reddish or greenish, if you want to use green and red as an indication of good or bad. And again, it's good or bad against the targets. If it does that, then Sofia and the team can change some of the values. And can they play some what if scenarios? And what if is, what if I take this action that will change the value of the proxy? Or what if I change my targets? Okay, it may be silly. I change a target, I change my resilience, it doesn't make sense. But again, this is a localized, a personalized assessment, it's a self-assessment. I can well change my ambitions to see if I'm on track. Of course, changing ambitions as a political value. So we are not forgetting that a community is also a group of people with ambitions. So it is a complex thing, not technical, not necessarily scientific, but it is real. And everything can be objectively assessed. That's important. I can replay the assessment and I can go back and see what if in another scenario. Whatever is possible, it's done, documented, shared, the process is refined, the results can be shared even outside of the community if Sofia is allowed and believes that is relevant for others. The results is a complete report, graphical and textual, that can be presented to decision makers, can be presented to the community to allow the decision process to take place. So now we stop here. It is possible that budget restrictions or national decisions at political level may change the targets, and it can be incorporated in the process. So if today Italy decides to change something about a reaction to pandemics, it will have an impact at local level, and it can be represented in our mechanism. Not necessarily in 5 minutes, but it is possible. The collection of data, the update of data, the update of the self-assessment can continue and stay in the system, and it can be rechecked anytime Sofia and the community needs to check it. So how it will be evolved, and this kind of short storyline that I presented is what we are going to implement in the trials. We will offer our users the tool, tell them how to use it, follow them in updating, uploading the data, shaping the assessment, understanding the results, understand what if I change something, what is the impact. We all will learn from the process, and our scientific part is still working together with the developers, because this is not the process in isolation. Science and research has not stopped in the project. We continue to stay aside from the developers and the users to see how the model can be improved and the relations between proxies and indicators can be improved, and so on and so forth. Okay, this is a very much a high level, let's say, show on how the tool will be used in practice, and hopefully it will become a tool for policymakers and decision makers, so that it can be taken up for future references, but also it can make a tool for researchers to see the relations between some values in the proxies and some indicators on the way they are presented.